Are you ready to turn heads? Luxury isn't just worn, it's experienced. Introducing a Layla Carroll style and new up-and-coming designer collection where exclusive shoes and bags for men and women meets your feet. How about you take a handbag and wear it in style, where each piece is personally designed by a Layla Carroll herself and handcrafted from the finest material in Italy. Leather, smooth like butter, bold, timeless, distinctly you. Step into true elegance and make your mark with a Layla Carroll style where confidence meets craftsmanship. Visit a Layla Carroll style and experience the luxury of art that you wear. Hey everybody, I'm your host, Layla Carroll. So welcome to my podcast, Improving Your Thoughts by Freeing Yourself. This is the home where I help you with building a healthier thought process as well as boundaries, setting boundaries, and relationships that can help you be free and live your life to the fullest. You know, we like to always say, I live my life to the fullest, but what we don't realize is that sometimes we are not living our lives as the fullest because we have interruptions that comes into our lives that changes the dynamics of what things are going on and how things are happening in our world. Well, today's topic is going to be about what to do when you have a parent who do not know how to let go when you get married and have children. This topic actually hits home for me, you guys. I have been dealing with a mother who do not know how to just let me be me. And what I mean by that is that our issues root all the way back to childhood, all the way to now. Now, I had to do a lot of growing and a lot of changing and then also setting boundaries to put myself in a position that I am in today when it comes to her. But I think I remember telling you guys that my mom is a narcissist. I never even went into real details about it because I had to deal with a narcissistic husband who is deceased now. But during our marriage, it was very hard dealing with both of them. Now that I no longer have to deal with the narcissistic husband, I deal with my narcissistic mother. Well, this topic is going to be something else, you guys. So I am strongly encouraging you guys to go out and get you some tea, get you some coffee, some wine, some water, whatever it is that you like to drink on, because you need to sit back. It's about to be a bumpy ride. Now, if you already have your tea and stuff, okay, I'm going to tell you what today's topic is going to be over though. Now, if you are feeling smothered, guilty, or even resentful for what's going on in your life with your parents, I'm hoping that this episode can help you. We're going to talk about 5 key points. One of them is going to be acknowledging the emotional truth. Then there's understanding the dynamics. And then you have setting boundaries without breaking the bond with your parents, as well as breaking the bond with your marriage. And then we're going to talk about guilt versus growth. And the most important one of them all is when to seek support. A lot of us don't understand that support is the main issue that we have if we cannot have the support from our parents, because that's who we go to most of the time for support. Then you have to find some other outside source. So I just want to tell you, beautiful people, welcome to my podcast. And like I said once before, this is a free zone where I explore and talk about topics about relationships, mental freedom, and emotional healing. Today's topic is going to hit home for a lot of people because I know I am not the only one who's dealing with this, because we're going to talk about something that is sensitive, and most of the time talking about our parents is very sensitive to us. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. You're not by yourself. So I definitely don't want you to feel like you don't have nothing to do or you don't have any sources to go to. That's why I'm doing this podcast. I know I once told you guys that I was going to do a podcast once every month. Oh, I really was trying. But I have had a really strong situation dealing with my mother. Yesterday was her birthday and I had this trip planned and it didn't go well. It was so much that went into this, and I'm going to tell you guys about this stuff, and I definitely am going to share some insight on my family dynamics. So don't judge me now. Just understand that there's a lot of dysfunction going on, man. It's so much dysfunction. It ain't even funny. But it is at the same time, because that's what I do. I have to talk about it. That's what I told y'all once before. This is my therapy. When I talk to you guys, I use this as therapy. And it does help. Now, I hope that I'm helping someone else. I really hope that it's not all about me just sharing all my business, but it's to help any of you guys who are struggling dealing with your parents, and you know that you just got married or something like that, and you really just don't want to make your parents feel like they're not worthy or you throwing them away to the wolves. No, you just want them to understand that things have changed. So, like I said, today's episode is going to hit home for a lot of people because we're talking about what to do when you have a parent who just doesn't know how to let go when you get married and start your own family. Now listen, I'm not here to bash parents. That's not what I do. That's one reason why I didn't speak much about my parents, but I am talking about relationships, and parenting is a relationship as well. It ain't just all about romantic relationships. You also have friendships and you also have co-workers, stuff like that. But I'm going to touch base on the parenting today. I want you to just breathe, relax, and then we're going to go into what's really going on. If you are feeling guilty, I don't want you to feel guilty, okay? So let's be honest. We all love our parents, and we want the best for them, just like we want the best for ourselves as well as for our spouse and our children, right? But the thing is that it's hard to please everybody, especially when you're trying to create something new for yourself. This is where it gets really tough and hard, because if you don't put yourself in a position where you take control of your own life, this is where people such as your parents would come in and take control for you. Marriage and parenthood are big transitions, not just for yourself, but also for your parents too. Sometimes they don't even know how to let go. Not because they don't love you, but because they have always been your protector. You might hear them say that, especially if you have daddies and even mothers who love their children and always been there for them. And if they was both mom and dad, they really are going to be protectors and very hard to let go. So keep in mind that when you are addressing whatever it is that you need to address with your parents, just keep in mind that this is a part of who they are when it comes to you. They were your protectors. They don't know how to let go as easily, and they was everything to you. Or at least that's what they think. They was everything to you. So that role is not easy to relinquish when you are putting someone else in that spot. And usually that person is your spouse, your husband, or your wife. And they know it, but they don't. Some parents don't even care. They would try to figure out a way to manipulate the situation. And we're going to touch bases on that too. You have some parents who wrap their identity around you. Like they pretty much whole life since you was born has been all about you. I am very skeptical when it comes to a parent who talks about their children as that's their world. This is my world. My kids are my world. What they are failing at is that children grow up to be adults. And not only they grow up to be adults, they grow up to have their own children and get married and have their own home. I'm going to add some biblical points to this because I am a very firm believer when it comes to the biblical about life. Now, please disregard the sound around you because I'm outside, so you will hear helicopters and stuff like that. You might say, why is I'm outside? Because I need some privacy. Yes. Anyways, so what I want you guys to know is that when you get married, you are supposed to leave your birthplace of home or where you were when you was growing up, and you get your own home, and then you start your own tradition and your own way of living with your husband or your wife. That is the way it is designed. I always think like this. This is the way I think. If I did everything my mom and dad, whatever, want me to do, then I have no room to make any improvements or changes in the future because all I'm doing is repeating a cycle. And most of the time that cycle is not really good. It's usually just something that was given to you and it was rooted into you, and then you just do it because it's tradition. I am not a big traditional person. I don't really care for tradition. I know most people probably frown on that, but I don't. And the reason for that is because it stops you from growing. It stunts your growth. It keeps you from developing or creating something new in your life. I used to follow tradition. I remember before I got married, I always felt like, okay, the holidays was the time to do family stuff with all the family members. But then as time went on and people started passing away, and I started noticing a lot of people wasn't doing the same thing that was happening before. Now they started doing their own thing, and I'm like, okay, well, we always got together on Thanksgiving. No, the only reason we got together this day because my aunt was alive and she was always doing the cooking and people would come to her house. Now she's no longer alive. What's going to happen now? Someone else can take on that tradition and become the matriarch of the family, but that's not what happens. So what do you do in a situation like that? Do you stay and try to figure out a better way, or do you change the dynamics? Well, personally, I changed the dynamics because when I tried to, yes, I did try to take on that tradition, I realized it wasn't easy. First off, I was doing most of all the cooking, and I was spending my money on the food. And then, of course, everyone comes over and they eat, get a plate, and go home. Who's left with cleaning up? I was left with cleaning up. Who's left with this fat bill at the end of the year when you realize that Christmas is coming around the next month and you got children that wants Christmas presents? And if you're not rich, you need to figure out what's more important. So these are the things I'm talking about when it comes to tradition. Sometimes you need to change the way you do things. Whether you are newly married, raising a baby, or just creating your own space, you need to be able to do it without feeling guilty. This is where I am going to teach you about how to deal with parents who do not know how to let go once you have gotten married and you have started your own family, which means you also are starting your own tradition. There might be something that you don't really care to do that you did growing up, or let's say your spouse don't want to do it, and you have to learn to keep the peace. This one is for you, if you are that person. So let's jump into it, okay? We're going to talk about acknowledging the emotional truth.
We'll be back after a quick break.
If you haven't already, check out my luxury shoe and bag collection, a Carroll style. Each piece is personally designed by me and handcrafted from genuine Italian leather. Whether you're dressing up or keeping it casual, these pieces were made to help you walk with confidence. Because real style starts from how you feel. Go to alelacarrollstyle.com and experience these bold, timeless, and completely all you. Check it out. You might find something you like. We're going to make sure, I want you to have your thinking cap on with this. I want you to start thinking deep into your own psyche. Think about, why did you get married in the first place? What is your reason why you became a wife? And you got pregnant and you want to have your baby and all this, or you had your baby already. What kind of mother do you want to be? What kind of father do you want to be? What you want to teach your children? What kind of parenthood are you developing in your life? Because marriage and parenthood is a big transition. It's not only for you, it's also for your parents too, because they had to let go of their baby. And this same cycle is going to repeat itself for your children as well when they grow up and get married and have children of their own. So you might be sitting in the driver's seat right now, but eventually you're going to have to be a passenger when your kids become grown and have their own family. So this is not just for you, this is also for your children too. Learn to let go. Sometimes your parents don't know how to let go. Not because they don't love you, but because they're always, and they have always been your protector. I said this before, So letting go is not easy. They're used to being in a role where you need them and they love being needed. And they don't know how to wrap their identity around anything else but you. If they're not married and they're single, this is even harder because now they're alone and they're by themselves. This is where I have the problem with my own mother. She's single. She's not married. Her and my dad divorced when I was 12 years old. So that's a long time. And she have never remarried since. And when I look back at things, I started thinking to myself, what was she doing all this time? She never lived alone. That's one of the things I can say that I really don't remember my mom doing, is living by herself. My mom is the baby. She's the last of 8 siblings. 8 of them is 8 altogether. And she's the youngest. So she always had siblings in the house with her. And when she married my dad, my mom was 16 years old when she married my dad. She ran away from home and she got with my dad and then got married, then got pregnant, had my brother, then got pregnant again, had a miscarriage, then got pregnant again and had me. Well, even during that time period when she was married to my dad, she had him to live with, and then she had me and my brother to live with, and then they divorced, and then she had me to live with, me and my brother to live with, and then so forth, so on. I can continue the pattern of how this is going. I'm not going to go down the line. What I'm saying, the bottom line is that she never lived alone. She always had someone in the house with her, and this is where the problem lies, is that she don't know how to learn to live by herself, because my brother has moved on and I have moved on. And she have no one in the house with her except for the people that she's bringing in off the streets. Yes, you heard me right. My mom literally would bring homeless people into her home to live with her because she is so afraid to be by herself. That's how serious it has gotten. At first, I started thinking, is she doing this for attention? Because this is crazy. This is some ludicrous stuff. But then, as she started explaining to me and everybody else why she's doing this, she called it her ministry. I'm like, but if this is your ministry, you don't have to live in the house with them. Let them have the house and you move to Houston. So my mom lived in San Antonio. I live in Houston. And she had she had 3 other siblings that live in Houston. And she just refused to leave her house to live somewhere else. She'd rather me come live with her. But did you remember that I'm married? I cannot come live with you. And then my husband have his own house that he had before I married him, and he moved me and my son into this house. So why in the world would we pack up our stuff and come live in your house? Not only while we do that, her home is not in the best of shape. And what I mean is that it needs some work done to it. I mean, a lot of work. So I don't want to put myself in a position where my husband doesn't feel like a man, because he is one. Okay. And that's not the dynamic of the way things are supposed to be. That's not the divine order of things. And I don't like that. And I feel like when it comes to her, she don't she do understand. She just don't care. Remember I said she's a narcissist, okay? She wants it her way and her way only. So when me and my aunt, one of her sisters, we be trying to come up with a solution to help her. Oh my goodness, this woman here. She finds all kinds of ways to keep from actually accepting any one of our solutions. So she even went to the extreme to check herself into a nursing home. Not 1, but 2. The first nursing home she checked herself into, it didn't work out too well. And so she went to a different nursing home and checked herself into that one. And the funny thing about the second one is that when she was working, that was one of the nursing homes that she worked at, because she was a CNA when she was working. Then over the years, things changed and evolved, and then she retired. And when I found out that she checked herself in a nursing home, that was another thought process went through my mind. Okay, now is she doing this for attention? And you start thinking, is this attention or something? Is something really wrong? Well, Adult Protective Service got involved and called me and started asking me a lot of questions about her and about her mental state. And I started feeling like maybe she do need to be in a nursing home. I didn't put her there. I had to let the Adult Protective Service lady know. I did not put her there. She put herself there. And if she chooses to check out, she can actually check herself out. So what's going on? And she was like, well, we found out that your mother checked herself out, and we thought maybe it was against the doctor's orders. I'm thinking like, what you mean? Because she checked herself in. Come to find out, it was not against the doctor's orders. My mom just going through some situations where I guess she didn't get her way. I think she was thinking that I was going to go and get her out the nursing home and bring her to my home. Or I was going to talk my husband into going to San Antonio and moving there. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. And I said that because I want to give you guys a clear understanding of what I'm dealing with when it comes to my mother not knowing how to let go. I'm pretty sure you guys probably ain't dealing with that. But if you are, We are literally in the same boat trying to roll it to get to the other side, okay? Well, anyway, so what you want to do is be honest with your parent. You want to be truthful about what's going on in your life. The emotions that you're going to be feeling, you're going to feel smothered. You're going to feel frustrating. You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to even feel torn between your parents and your spouse. And you shouldn't, though. But you're not crazy. And you're not wrong for feeling this way. Your feelings are valid. And no one, I mean absolutely no one, has the right to tell you that you are a bad daughter or a bad son when you know that you are going to need to do what's going to be next. It's going to take some space, some time. You want to understand the dynamics. That's why you need to take some time. Pull yourself away from the whole situation and take some time to understand what's actually happening. That's what I did last month, in the month of May, because it was Mother's Day, as well as this month, June, yesterday was my mom's birthday. So I had a lot of touring inside to deal with. I am also a mother. So why do I feel like I have to pick and choose who I spend or how I spend my Mother's Day? So I decided to fly my mother to Houston and have her spend Mother's Day here with me. And that way my husband and my son can give me a proper Mother's Day as well. So my husband took me and my mother and our son out for Mother's Day dinner and Mother's Day brunch. It was still early. So we tried to do all those things, and you would think that she would have been satisfied with that. No, she wasn't. She pretended while we was there she was satisfied, but later on I found out that she wasn't that satisfied. She told someone that I do not check up on her. I don't come to check up on her. And the problem that I have with that is that I have been in San Antonio every single month this entire year. I have been going back and forth. And I feel like when it comes down to her, like one of my aunts said to me, I think she wants you there every weekend or every day. I said, how in the world I'm going to be able to do that when I'm married, I'm working, I'm a mother, and also have a business to run? I cannot do all that. And she was like, yeah, that's true. You can't, but she don't care. And I'm thinking like, now this is where this is being selfish. So selfishness is where I had to start putting myself in a position that I do not allow her selfishness to take over my life. Understanding the dynamics is something that you will have to learn to do. We're going to talk about this because I want to talk about how it actually looks. You need to know that your parents are having a hard time letting go. That's one thing. But it doesn't mean that you have to accept everything that they're doing, okay? So these are some of the things that they would do. Maybe they show up unannounced to your house. They did not call. They just showed up, okay? And that could be very uncomfortable. Oh, you in the middle of doing something. Let's say you and your husband is about to get it on, or you and your wife about to get it on, and your mama just show up, or your daddy just show up, or both of them that show up. Oh yeah, you gotta set some boundaries now. Yeah, you do. Or let's just say that you're maybe having an argument with your spouse and you know you don't want your parents involved because they're going to think that they can get involved. And that is not cool when it comes to marriage. You got to push them out that conversation very fast. They could not be involved in that at all, because when you forgive your spouse, your parents won't. And that is the reason why you cannot have them in it while you are heated with your spouse. Can't do it. All I said, they consistently always giving advice that you did not ask for. That happens a lot. I know it happens with me. Or they question your spouse and your parenting choices. They always have some kind of problem going on with you or with your spouse or with your children. It's always something. So for instance, here's an example. My mom, she have a problem when I decide to let my son spend some time with his biological dad, which is my brother. Okay, my brother has gotten himself together. He's got his own apartment. He has his VA check coming in like clockwork now. He goes to the doctor every time his appointment is due. And he also has an assistant that comes to the house and assists him and stuff like that because my brother had lost both of his legs. So he's a double amputee. He's in a wheelchair, but he also have prosthetic legs, so he can put those on and actually walk, you know. And my mom have a problem with me letting my son go and spend some time with him. I don't think that that's a problem. I believe that my son should get a chance to know his biological parents, because that to me will help with his mental state. It will help with his capacity to understand why he's not living with his dad and he's living with me, who is his biological aunt, but yet I am also his adopted mother. And he also get the opportunity to live, to understand why he have a stepdad. The point that I'm making is that I feel like my mother be overstepping her boundaries when she started talking to me about why I'm doing. No, she don't even tell me why. She tell me not to. This is how she says it. Don't send him back over to his dad. He don't need to be over there because I don't trust that situation. I just feel like he's pretending to be okay, but I don't think he's completely okay. This is your son you're talking about here. So if you're talking about your son like this, I know you talk about me like this. So I'm not feeling listen to you when it comes to that, because one thing for certain, I'm always aware of what's going on. And not only that I'm aware of it, I'm very protective of my son. Okay? So I don't need you to step in on this. I need you to step out of this. And that is part of the reason why I'm telling you sometimes your parents might be making comments or statements about your parenthood and stuff like that, or even your spouse and who you chose to marry. You have to learn to say enough is enough. I don't need you in this. Please step back. Or let's just say that they're making you feel guilty for setting boundaries. I want you to listen. I want you to understand that this is not just a concern. These are actually emotional control that is dressed up as love. Real love makes room. It makes room for you to grow. It also shows you respect for your new life, knowing that you're going to be making some changes. And when your parents are really, really, truly understanding and loving you, they'll step back and understand that you really need them to step back and stop being so involved into your world. This doesn't mean that you're a bad person. No, what it means is that you just need a relationship adjustment. You need to learn how to adjust your relationship with your parents. That's what this is all about. You can't be fully grown. You cannot be a full adult and you're still being treated like a child. That ain't gonna happen. Or you still have your childish tendencies of folding and shrinking yourself when you're around your parents. This is not going to work. You can't do both. What you want to do is step into your new chapter, and you want to let your parents know that you are setting boundaries. You're not disrespecting them. You're just setting boundaries. And you want them to understand that they was once in your shoes. If your parents have ever been married, or if they are married, try to remind them about the times when they were in your shoes. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes it don't, though. Because sometimes your parents might say, well, I didn't do all that. I listened to my parents. And that's why they are the way they are now. Because of the fact that they did not try to make any real changes in their own lives. Okay? And just let them know, hey, you probably did what your parents told you to do the way they told you to do it. But this is my life. I'm going to do it differently. I want to do it differently. I'm not saying that you're a bad parent or you did anything wrong while we was growing up, but what I am saying, I want to do things differently, and that's what I'm doing here, so give me the room. So we're going to talk about setting boundaries without breaking the bond. You might be close to your parents. Yeah, most of the time, it is very hard to set these boundaries when y'all have a close relationship. But I'm here to tell you that setting boundaries is not disrespectful. Setting boundaries is really called self-respect. That's what it is. You're learning to respect yourself. You also respecting your marriage and you're respecting your parenthood. We can love our parents and still say to them, hey, I need you to call before you come over. Or, I appreciate your input, but I need you to allow me to do things my way. Or you can even say, hey mom, I love you. I love how involved you are with us and everything, but I also need to build my own family rhythm. We're going to have our own thing going on, so please allow us to have that. But what you want to do is say it gentle. You want to be real gentle about it, but you want to be very clear, okay? And stay consistent. Please stay consistent. Do not set boundaries on Monday and then you go folding on Friday. Don't do that. I'm telling you not to do that, because if you got a mother like me, your consistency is what's going to help her to understand what you're actually telling her you really need it. Okay? So what you're actually doing, you're reframing your relationship with your parents. So if your parents feel lost, give them a new role. You might say, what kind of role to give them? Well, depending on what kind of parent you have. Let's say your mother or your father is pretty wise and you like to get advice from them. Tell them, I need for you to be the wise grandparent. So give the children wise advice. But as for me, allow me to come to you and get your advice when I'm ready for it. Don't just blurt it out because you're feeling some kind of way. Or let's say that your parent is a traditional type parent. They like traditional ways of life. They grew up that way. That's the way they are. Well, what you could do is just say, okay, how about you teach the children the traditional way of cooking, our family recipes, or teach them about our family history, those type of things. Or if your parent likes to tell stories, like my dad, he loves telling stories. So he's a storyteller. I let him tell all the stories about what happened in the past and how things was going. So I don't have these issues with my dad, but my mom is the main one I have these issues with. But I'm just giving you an example of what you can kind of do if you have a parent who likes to tell stories. Allow them to tell stories, but let them know you're telling stories. You're not making decisions though. Okay? The best way to help them to still feel value is to give them a new role. Just let them know they're not in control. That's the only thing they need to understand. You're not controlling anything. I'm the one to make decisions. I'm going to give you another example. So, a few years ago, I say about 3 years ago, my mom was here, and it was around Thanksgiving, but before Thanksgiving, but it was in the month of November. She was here and at my house and everything, and she was taking my son's bedroom. They were supposed to share rooms together. My son know that he is not supposed to eat in the bedroom. Matter of fact, he cannot even take food upstairs. And my mom had food. She had some chicken wings and stuff like that, and she was eating in the room. My son came to her. He saw her eating. He said, you're not supposed to eat upstairs. You got to go downstairs to eat. And she was like, no, I don't. I don't have to go downstairs. I'm the parent. I'm the mother. Your mom is my daughter. She do what I say. And I didn't know that's what she said. That's what my son told me, because he come running in the room, in my bedroom, and my husband's bedroom. He came running in. Mom, Grandma said that she can eat upstairs and that she's the mother and that you're the daughter and you have to do what she say. I said, oh, is that right? Now, what you gonna do in a situation like that? What you think I should do? What you think I should have done? Because in a situation like that, I know my son is watching. And he knows that I'm his mother. He knows that that's his grandmother. So this is where the decisions have to be made. Who is in control at this particular time? So I had to let it be known right off the bat. Okay. I went in the room and I said, Mom, Junior is right. We don't eat upstairs, because if you leave chicken bones on the floor or in the trash can, it's going to draw insects. We don't want ants and roaches or anything to be coming in the room. So can you go downstairs and eat your food? And she still did not do that. She was still eating behind my back upstairs the whole time while I wasn't paying attention. And most of the time, I'm probably in the room with my husband or whatever, and she goes upstairs with a plate or something. And I had to say something again, to a point to where I'm like, okay, now she's disrespecting my home and she's also disrespecting my rules, and my son is watching. So what else do I do in this situation? So this is what I did. I said, okay, Mom, you don't want to respect our house rules. And that's a problem, because every time I try to enforce the rules to your grandson, now he think he can do what you do. And that's not listen to me. And he started sneaking. Oh, my son started sneaking food upstairs too, because he saw his grandmother do it. Now we got a problem. So I told my mom it's time for her to go home. Yes, I did. And I know that Thanksgiving was coming up, but I'm sorry, you guys to go. And I did. I told her she had to go. Oh, my mom got so mad. She started blowing up. She started cursing me out. Yes, she called me a bloody motherfucker. Yes, she did. All kinds of stuff, man. And I was like, really? It shouldn't even get to this point. I'm really painting a picture of what kind of mother I actually have, you guys. She can be loving when she wants to, but when she don't like something or she's not getting her way, she shows her real character, and that person is not someone that you want to always be around. And I said to myself, this is not gonna work. So I called her sister. I said, I need you to come get your sister, because she's acting up in my house. She's tearing my house up. Yeah, she started tearing things up, throwing stuff all over the house, all over the bedroom, tearing up. Oh my goodness, she was tearing my house apart. And my husband had to get involved. And this was before we got married. He was just my boyfriend at the time. We weren't even engaged yet. And I was thinking like, oh, he is not going to want to marry me now, because he going to be like, okay, your mama crazy and I don't think I want to deal with that. But that wasn't the case, because now we're married. But the thing is, he had to get involved, and he was like, enough is enough. You need to stop acting like this. What he telling my mom? You need to stop acting like this. It is time for you to go. I have not said anything this whole time while you was here. You've been here for 2 weeks, and all you've been doing is disrespecting my home. It's time for you to go. If your daughter said that you overstayed your welcome, then you overstayed your welcome. And then she went in on my husband. Oh, she went in on him, and she was like talking crazy to him. And oh, by the time my aunt showed up, I was so happy. I was like, thank you for coming. Get your sister. Get her out of my house. Because this should have never escalated to this point. Over some chicken bones. And not just that, it was because I felt that she really was overstaying her welcome by not following my rules of the house. I have my own rules. I don't do what she does. My rules are set in place because, first of all, I like a clean house. Remember I told you in the beginning of this that my mom needs some work done to her house? Well, a lot of the reason is because the house is not clean. And I feel like I don't want you to bring your living dynamics over to my space. And then I have to deal with the same things that you have going on at your place. This is not going to work. So you have to learn to be consistent in what you do with your parents. And that brings me to guilt versus growth. It has been a time in my life when I wouldn't even dare have told my mom that she had to go home. Yeah, I literally had to do some growing to get to that part. And what made me grow? Let me explain what did it for me. When I married my first husband, I was 24 years old. My mom was too involved in that marriage because my first husband will always call her and tell her everything that was going on. And I hated it. And I mean, I hated it with a passion. She would tell him every time we get into an argument, threaten me with a divorce. And he would do it. Oh, he was so like, I want a divorce. Every other weekend when we got into an argument, I want a divorce. I want a divorce. I said, well, damn, what you married me for if you want a divorce? What's this about? And he was like, well, your mom told me that will get your attention. And I'm like, really? That's what she told you? You sure right. Oh, yeah. And she's right, too. Because the attention that it's going to get from me is for me to rebel on you. Every time you keep throwing up a divorce. Because I'm going to start feeling like this ain't going to work. And we're not going to last. So what I'm working hard for is being a good wife to you for. So you might want to rethink that channel for real. So that was one of the reasons. So when I got married to my second husband, he was not having it with her. He didn't like her. He didn't want to talk or be around her, but he did. He had to be around her for my sake. But he was pushing back a lot when it came down to her. He kept pushing back. Like, I don't want to go. I'm every time I would go to San Antonio, he'd be like, nah, I don't want to go to San Antonio. You go ahead and go by yourself. And then it got to a point where I'm like, hey, at least on special occasions, come with me. Then he would come. And then when she would come to our place and he would stay in the room most of the time, he wouldn't come out. And that was his way of avoiding her because he didn't want to be in any type of any type of conflict with her because my mom liked to talk. Yes, she loved to talk. Remember in one of my other podcasts, I say that I'm long-winded and I say I get it from my mama. That's exactly what I'm talking about. She loves to talk and she always feels that she's right in her conversation. Like there's nothing that you can say to her that she don't know. And my deceased husband, my second husband, he hated that. He felt like your mama act like she knows it all. She don't know. She don't know what she's talking about. And I used to be like, just let her talk. Just let her talk. Don't take offense to that. Just let her get it out. That's just what she does. And I remember this one time when she likes to do a lot of research on politics as well as religion. And she's real deep and heavy into that. Her whole conversation is politics, as well as religion. That's her conversation right there. And he was so sick of it. He was like, dang, did your mama talk about anything else other than politician or politics and stuff or religion? Can we just talk a normal conversation? And I was like, no. She don't know how to talk about nothing else. This is what she's interested in. This is what she be on the computer, her phone, YouTube. This is all she does. Even if you go on her Facebook page, it's going to be nothing but stuff about Trump and Biden and religious preachers and stuff like that. That's all you're going to see. That's just her mindset. And he was like, I can't do this every day. And I understand. I do. I get it. Especially when they start trying to tell you what you believe isn't right. And that's what my mom would do. Whatever you believe, she would bash it. Like basically, if you are the person that says I am for Trump, or she's going to go off on you. Or if you're the person that says that I love to go to church because of whatever, because she feel like the preachers are just there to be pimps in the pulpit. And Oh my goodness, she's going to go off on you. And I try to stay away from those conversations and those topics, right? Oh no, she's going to take you right to those topics. And I had to learn that it was time for me to grow. It was time for me to change the way I felt about how I deal with her. So let's talk about guilt. We're going to go there. So many of us stay stuck because we don't want to hurt our parents or disappoint them. But here's the truth. Guilt doesn't always mean you're doing something wrong. Sometimes guilt means you're doing something different. You are not abandoning your parents. You will not be abandoning your parents if you step out on your own 2 feet into your own power. Okay? Growth always, and I mean it will always change the old dynamics. That's the reason why we grow. But growth is necessary in order to have the new life that you're trying to have. If you don't want to stay stuck in your old habits, then you have to change with growth. You want to spend time doing what you want to do instead of what someone else wants you to do. You want to seek to understand. You want to make sure that what you're seeking is about you, your family dynamics that you are creating. So if you feel guilty, ask yourself why. Why are you feeling guilty? What is it that got you feeling the way you feel? Why? Is it because you don't want to disappoint your parents? I felt that way at some point. I did. I felt like I was disappointing my mom because I remember when I got married. Okay, when I first married my second husband, my mom called me one day on the phone and she tried to manipulate me emotionally, throw some guilt at me. And the way she did it, I knew she was manipulating me. I knew it right then what she was actually doing when she was doing it. And I just let her talk. I had to really think. I had to put myself in a place where I had to question it. I had to question myself. What she's saying, is what she's saying to me really happening? Or is it because she's trying to keep it from happening? And what she was telling me was, I know the Bible says to leave to cleave, that when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, and he should leave his father's house and cleave to his wife. But that doesn't mean that you need to abandon me. And I'm like, am I abandoning her? Did I abandon her? Did I not talk to her yesterday? Did I not go and see her last month? What is going on here? I'm questioning this. And then she's like, no, I need you to come down here at least once a month. And I say, can I do that? Am I able to come and visit her once a month? And then I thought about it. I said, okay, I can't really do that because what if something happened in that particular month that keeps me from coming there? So if I commit to this, I know how my mom is. She would get pissed and she would be angry that I skipped a month, even though I have valid reason why. So do I accept that or do I tell her no? I can't make that commitment. So while she was talking, I'm listening to her, but I'm also questioning myself with what she's asking me to do. And I said, nah, I can't do that. So after she stopped talking, somewhere after a whole hour later, I told her, I said, Mama, what you're asking me to do is impossible. I am a flight attendant. And when I get home, I'm tired. And even though I'm tired, I still have to be a wife to my husband. So I have to give him time. And there's going to be time that I'm not going to be able to show up in San Antonio to come visit you. And every time I drive to San Antonio, I'm usually by myself. He don't always want to come to San Antonio. And if he do come to San Antonio, we got to get a hotel because he don't want to stay at your house, which I truly understand why. But I just feel like you're asking me to do too much. And she was like, that's not a lot. Once a month, you get 3 weeks to do whatever you want. And then one day of that month, you come down here and you spend time with me. And I was like, oh my God, this is way too much that she is wanting to put on me. And how long is this going to last? How long do I supposed to do it this way? Because at some point, I'm going to have to make some changes. What if I move to another state or another country? Do I still got to fly here once a month to see you? Like, you're really asking me to do too much. And she was not trying to let up. So I had to put myself in a situation to think for myself, this is manipulation. And she was like, I am your mother and I come first. When she said that, I knew then exactly what it was. I said, this is narcissistic. You're not going to control me this way. I said, no, you do not come first. My husband come first. You just said at your own mouth that the Bible says that when a man gets married, he leaves his mother and father and cleaves to his wife. Why in the world are you going against that when you are so big on religion and stuff like this? This is a manipulation tactic and it is not going to work on me. So that was the beginning of my change right there. That was when I had to start making preparation to do things differently. So that whole marriage, when I was married to my second husband, I had to not post a lot on social media because she was watching everything that I posted and then talking about it. They over there at the Jazz Fest cafe and she can't come over here and see me, but she can go to a jazz cafe. Yes, I can with my husband. I sure can. I surely can. I can go and visit my husband. When I come home from work, man, my husband can go and we can go and have a good time. You're not taking that away from me. But she was trying to manipulate me emotionally, like make me feel guilty about it. And when my second husband, he got sick and went into the hospital, he was in the hospital for a whole week. Not once did she come to Houston to support me. Not once did she say, do you need me to come and be with you? Not once did I get that from her. I called her on the phone. I'm telling her how stressed out I am. I'm like, Mama, they talking about amputating his legs and taking his foot because it's swollen and it's leaking pus and they can't control it. And his blood pressure is through the roof. I don't know what I'm going to do because that means that now he is going to be handicapped. Like, I'm literally trying to get some support from her. You know what she told me? Yeah, what I'm about to say is going to probably surprise you. She said, oh, now he can get disability. I said, what? Did you really say that? Disability? Hell no. I said, that is the last thing I want to happen, is for him to have to get disability. Now he have a real reason not to work. Oh my God, this is not happening. I said, did you just say that? Then I say on top of that, that is an income that's not really going to take us far at all. I mean, I went through all that and I say, this is what you come up with? Now he can get disability. And she was serious about this, you guys. I mean, serious. So what I'm doing is showing you the mindset of my mother, of what I have to deal with and how I'm overcoming these challenges, but still keeping a relationship with her, but not allowing her to manipulate my situation, especially now that I'm in a new marriage. Now, this marriage that I'm in right now, I have to say that this is the most healthiest relationship I have ever had in my entire life of being in a relationship with a man. Whether it's dating, courting, or whatever, a marriage, this is the most healthiest. And my mom knows this. She sees it, but she still try to find a way to tiptoe herself into it. And I have to find, my dad is the one who helps me with this. He tells me, Keep your mother out of your marriage. Don't tell her nothing about what's going on with y'all. Even if it's the slightest situation, don't give her that information, because she's going to take that information. She's going to talk about it to everybody who don't even know y'all, and then some who do know y'all, and make it blow out of proportion than what it really is. So don't give her that leadway. And I said, okay, Dad, I take your advice. You are so right. And I'm going to make sure that I do what I need to do, because the way I was feeling was to basically just X her out completely. And he was like, nah, don't do that, because now you really would be abandoning her. And I say, yeah, that's true. He said, no, you don't want to do that. What you want to do is just limit how much she knows. And that was, and he wasn't the only one that told me that. Her best friend, she got a best friend of 50 years. You'd probably say 50 years have a best friend, because they know her and they know how to deal with her. That her best friend told me right before I married my current husband. She said to me, she said, I'm going to have to let you know this. Your mother don't want you to get married. She is not happy with the fact that you're getting married again. She really don't want you to be with nobody. She wants you all to herself. She wants to control you. And I'm telling you this because I don't want you to let your mother have her way. That's not fair. She said, I have a daughter. You know how I am when it comes to my daughter. And she's my only child, and I don't even be involved in her marriage. When she needs to get out there and she needs to be with her family, she got 2 boys. I don't get involved in that. When she wants me to come over, then I come over. But if she don't say, Mama, come on over here, I'm not going to get involved. I leave them alone, because I don't think it's right to have myself inserted into my daughter's marriage. So I understand if you choose to not have your mother involved, but I'm letting you know, be careful with how much information you give her. This is the second time I got that warning, right? Yeah. I don't need too many warnings to be warned, okay? I learn real quick, and I learn very fast that at some point I'm going to have to take heed to those warnings, and that's exactly what I did. So I don't share anything that's going on with my marriage to my mother. I do not tell her anything that's going on. I barely even bring my husband's name up to her. I barely, because every time I've noticed that every time I have brought my husband's name up to her, she get real quiet and she goes silent. And I know this about her. My mama talk way too much to be quiet. So when she gets quiet, that's because she don't like something or someone, but she can't do nothing about it. So she just shuts up. And I'm like, how you don't like my husband and he ain't done nothing to you? And matter of fact, he's good to me and to your grandson. But this got to be a jealous thing. And I can't help that. I can't do anything about that. So this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. When you're dealing with somebody in this way, sometimes you have to seek support. That's what I did. I seek support. I talked to my aunts. I talked to my mom's best friends. I even talked to my own friends. And I even share things with my husband. And he knows when I'm going through some stress dealing with my mom. He said, let me guess. Your mom, right? I'm like, yep. He's like, oh, babe, what's going on now? And then I tell him, and he's like, okay, so what you want to do about it? And then I tell him what I'm going to do. This is what I do. I take breaks. Yes, I take breaks. See, yesterday was my mom's birthday. And because it was her birthday, I went to San Antonio to go see her. I texted her early that morning when I got up and I said, happy birthday, Mom. She didn't reply. My son texted her, happy birthday, Grandma. She replied to him. But then when I was on my way to San Antonio, that's a 3-hour drive, you guys. So I was on my way to San Antonio. She was on the phone with my aunt, telling my aunt that I never wished her a happy birthday. And I said, yes, I did. I got a text message to prove it. Just because she didn't reply back don't mean I didn't say anything. And she replied to my son's text message. So why is she lying like that? Then my brother called her son called her and told her happy birthday. Now, I have cameras in my mother's house, so I can listen in on the conversation and see what's going on. So I told my son, get on the camera so we can see what's going on, because I'm not going to make this trip all the way down there for nothing. So let's get on the camera. So he should get on the camera, and I can hear her on the phone talking to my brother, talking about, I'm sad. What you sad for, Mom? I'm sad because your sister didn't even tell me happy birthday. She ain't even caring about me. She's not even concerned about me. She don't never come check on me or nothing. And then I could hear my brother tell her, Mom, she don't live here. And she finds a way to come visit you even when she have a husband and she have a job and she have a business. And she still finds ways to get here to see you. And every time you have a need, she finds a way to make sure that need is met. So why are you saying that she don't check on you when I know she do? Nah, she don't check on me. I need her to come see about me every weekend. He said she can't do that. She can't do that. That's something she can't do. She works sometime on the weekends. And so I'm listening to the conversation. I'm getting agitated, you guys. I am getting agitated. And I'm saying to myself, she is so ungrateful. Oh my God, how much more can I take? So what you guys want to do is you have to figure out, is it something deeper? Is it something inside of your parents that is way deeper than you can actually do for them? Because you can do everything in your power to try to keep their relationship intact, and it's still not enough. If your parents' behavior become toxic, or you consistently feel like they keep putting you on a guilt trip, or let's say your parents start attacking your partner. Yes, that have happened to me. My mom tried to attack my husband when I was at work one day, and she was here at the house. And he had to call me and tell me I had to leave the house because your mom was coming at me, talking about it's my fault why her daughter don't come visit her, and that's not true. I was like, your daughter do come visit you. She come out there to see you all the time. So what are you talking about? But if you feel like you are in a situation where your parents are constantly ignoring your boundaries, this is when you're going to have to learn to protect your peace. You might need to seek some therapy, some help, somebody to help you process what's going on. Or you might need to get a mediator to help with your conversation with your parents. Because if you cannot talk to your parents alone, you might want to get someone who can come and sit down with you and your parents and talk. So I had to do this when I had stopped talking to my mom for 3 months. Now, that was the longest I ever went without talking to my mother. 3 months. And I was done with all the shenanigans that she was doing. I was over it. It was just too much. I couldn't handle it no more. And this was before I got married to my current husband right now. And this was that day when she had tore up his house. Like, literally tore it up like a hurricane. She was like a Tasmanian devil going through the house, tearing stuff up. And I was like, nah, we can't do this. This is not cool. So her best friend of 50 years called me up to ask me what was going on, because my mom called her, told her a whole story that did not happen. And I had, like I said, got cameras in my mom's house. I also have video cameras in my own house. So I just pulled the footage up and texted to her friend and said, watch this, and you would know exactly what's going on. When she saw that video, she was so mad at my mom. Oh, she was furious. She said, I cannot believe she went to that man's house and tore that man's house up like that. That is the most disrespectful thing that anyone can do. Well, I was like, that's why I'm not talking to her. And she was like, I understand that you feel the way you feel, but that's still your mother, and you only get one mother. So I don't agree with what she did, but I don't think you should just cut her off. Maybe if I ride with you to San Antonio, we can 3 sit down and have a conversation without any backlash or her acting like a nut or whatever, because she don't act like that when I'm around, which my mom's best friend was right. My mama don't act like that when she's around. Maybe that's why they would be friends for 50 years, because she don't show her that side of her. And so I agreed, and she was the mediator, and we was able to rekindle our relationship, and I set my boundaries at that time. That's when my boundaries came in place, right there. Maybe you just might have to do the same thing. You might have to do this, find a mediator, someone who your parents respect, and sit down and have that talk with them so you can get out what you need to get out. Or sometimes you just have to do what you got to do, and that's create some distance between y'all. Don't make the distance permanent, though. Just take some space in between. So what I do to take space, I will go 2 weeks and I don't call my mom or talk to her or nothing. That 2 weeks, I'm not even focusing on anything that's going on with her. Sometimes my aunt will call and be like, hey, you talked to your mom today? And I say, nope, I'm not either. I'm not calling her. I'm not texting her. I'm not going to go see her. This is my time that I need. This is my mental break. This is my mental clarity. This is my way of getting my peace. And hey, they understand that. And my mom don't care. But my aunt and my husband and my mom's best friend and everyone else, they understand. Okay? So let me be clear about this one thing. You are not selfish when you are needing your space. Even the Bible tells us to protect our peace. According to Psalms chapter 34, verse 14, the New Living Translation, that's the NLT, what it says is, turn away from evil and do good. Search for peace and work hard to maintain it. When I came across that scripture, I am living it ever since I came across it. I turn away from evil and I do my best to do good. And I always search for peace. And when I find my peace, I work hard to maintain it. I work really hard. And that's the reason why I take breaks from her. Because she is the only person who can actually disturb my peace if I let her do it. And that's because she's my mother and I love her and I don't want to really disappoint her. But I have to understand that sometimes disappointment have to happen. I told my aunt today, I was on the phone with her and I told my aunt, I said, I'm taking another break from her. And sometimes you have to hurt people's feelings for them to grow. And she was like, what? I said, yeah, you do. I said, let me tell you a story of what happened to me, what made me grow. I told her, I said, I was dating this guy some years back. I was in my 20s. And he told me, he said, did you brush your teeth today? And I said, yeah, I brushed my teeth. He said, are you sure? I said, yeah, I brushed my teeth. He said, I don't know about that because your breath stank. And I was like embarrassed. And I was so hurt. And I was saying, no, he did not just tell me my breath stank. So I went to the bathroom and brushed my teeth some more. And I say, how about now? He said, nah, your breath still stink. And I was like, dang, are you for real? Well, come to find out, when I went to the dentist, I had a rotten tooth. Good thing I went to the dentist because of the fact that if I would have never had that tooth pulled out, my breath would still be stinking to this day. And if he would have never hurt my feelings, it would have never made me go to the dentist. Okay? So that's what I was telling her. Sometimes your feelings have to get hurt to change. And hey, if I hurt her feelings, then maybe she'll change. What you think about that? So just remember, you are responsible for your own emotions. You're also responsible for the emotional climax in your own home. So make sure that whatever's happening in your home is to your likings, what you want to happen. You want to do your best to create peace in your home. Keep your life the way you want it, not the way someone else wants it, even if your own parents don't like it. The bottom line is that you have to create peace for yourself, your marriage, your own family. You have your own family, okay? Your parents have theirs. Yes, you are their children. You are their child, but it doesn't give them the right to manipulate you and control you. Once you are an adult, you need to act as an adult. Yeah, so we're going to wrap this up. I know I said a lot and I explained a whole lot about my mother. I probably won't talk a whole lot more about her. I gave you enough information about her as far as you understanding what I've been going through, dealing with in these past couple of months. And I'm talking about why I did not do my podcast last month and why I'm doing it now. And also, I really do hope that I am helping you guys in some kind of way with my story. And you have to understand that I really am working on myself. I'm trying to be the best version of myself. But the only way that I can do that is that I have to be true to myself. And that's the same. It's the same that goes to you as well, to you guys. So I hope that someone who needed this information, I hope this helped you. And if this message helped you today, do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Download this episode. Share this episode with someone else who might need to hear this information. And just remember that if you want to break the generational patterns in your family, you're going to have to be the one that make the change. It starts with you. And if this is something that you feel what you're going through is a little bit deeper, you need a little bit more in-depth, hands-on, well, I have programs that you can also go ahead and sign up for on imagingcoaching.com. Go there, go to the area where it says programs, and go into that area and see if there's anything that you need. Maybe the stress management course you can take. Now, the stress management course is free. Go ahead and sign up for that and get started with learning how to manage your stress. I hope that this is something that you can take with you and start making the changes that you need to make the legacy that you want to build. And don't feel guilty about what's going on with you. It's not you, okay? It's the people that you got around you. You might want to make some changes in that area. Well, until next time, thank you for listening. I'm signing out. Layla. Are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by stress? Introducing Stress Management with Imaging Coaching, your ticket to a calmer, more balanced life. In this journey you will be taking with us here at Imaging Coaching, we'll equip you with powerful techniques and tools you can use to conquer stress, control, and transform your life. From deep breathing exercises to mindfulness practices, you'll discover the tools to relax your mind and body. Come join us on this transformative path and unlock a world of inner peace and resilience. Don't let stress hold you back any longer. Take charge of your well-being today with Imaging Coaching, your stress management team. Discover clarity. Defeat stress through Imaging Coaching at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com.